Okay guys, we are going to try something new, a training that is remote on Screencast-O-Matic. Hopefully this will save both of us time, and you guys are experienced, so I just want to go through the checklist with you so you're familiar with it. It is different this year. It is a Google form instead of the form that was through FormSpace and Eduphoria last year. So when I send you the link, this is what it's going to look like. And at the top, it gives you the information that this is a checklist. The campus testing coordinators are listed at the top. And then where you start to fill it in, every field is required. So start with the date. And then, of course, select the campus that you're at, which would be CHS or REACH. Wanda will be testing REACH and Truce kids in the REACH section. So the Truce kids will be in that main eating area with the REACH kids. The Truce kids will be the REACH kids. And then I'll monitor over at the administration computer lab for any kids that are there. The first section is materials and information. It's the same as the checklist that we used on FormSpace last time. And if you get to the campus while your test coordinator is checking out items, you'll be able to see these items for yourself. Otherwise, you'll have to mark not observed, or you'll have to ask somebody about the process. The first one is information regarding test schedule and room locations. You can ask the front office that when you get there. Make sure secure materials are kept in locked storage when they're not in use. Material control form is being used to check materials in and out to test administrators. If you're there early when the CTC is checking out, you'll be able to see this, or you can just ask to see it. Materials are counted and verified during check-in and check-out. Procedure is in place for test administrators to request assistance. You might need to ask what the procedure is, so you know, and usually they'll have a little sign that they put outside their door, but if you don't see that, you're welcome to ask the CTC what the process is. Then for location and monitoring, attendance is being monitored. Phone calls are being placed to absent students. You can ask the CTC how many people are absent at this point and who is calling the absent kids, because every student is told a couple of days before the test where they're testing, what day they're testing, what time they need to be there. So if they're not there, the CTC should be calling them. You should see a do not disturb sign outside of every testing room. That's a requirement. It's in the manual. Testing rooms could not be observed from the hallway, or rooms were locked for monitoring access. If you witness it, mark yes. If you don't observe it, then mark not observed. Bulletin boards and instructional displays that might aid students, there should be nothing on the walls inside of a classroom. You don't need to go inside of a classroom unless the CTC asks you to, but you can peek in the window and see if there's anything suspicious on the wall, and then let the CTC know if you're concerned. The ratio of 1 test administrator for every 30 students. We shouldn't have more than 30 kids in a room for every test administrator. So if you happen to see that a room looks extra packed, then ask the CTC for the roster. Next, you should see small groups with no more than 10 students. Wanda and Cameron both are pretty good about keeping their groups under 10 students. If they have more than 10 students, they would let me know, but that's the cap, 10 or fewer in a small group. You should see hall monitors located in the hallways. If you're asked to be a hall monitor, that should be planned ahead of time before the testing day. That's fine if you want to do the campus monitoring and be a hall monitor to help out. That's fine, but be sure that someone asks you ahead of time before the day of testing. Next, students are supervised and monitored during restroom breaks. If you see kids going to the restroom, you should see them with a hall monitor outside of the restroom to make sure that only one student goes in at a time and no talking is in the hallway. Test administrators are actively monitoring Let the CTC know if you see someone who's on their computer, who's on their smartwatch, who's using a phone, who's reading a book. Active monitoring means that they're actively monitoring and not doing anything else. Test administrators have student rosters with names, test assignments, and accommodations. If you're present during check-in or check-out, you will see this. Otherwise, unless you're asked to go into a classroom to help for some reason, you probably won't see the rosters. Students in testing rooms are spaced appropriately, or they have dividers. Some of the rooms are pretty tight, and the CTC should have dividers up, especially for the December test, because there aren't different versions of this test. Everybody has the same test. Number 1 is the same for number 1 on everybody's test. So we have to be careful that the kids are not too close. If you're concerned, talk to the CTC, or you can let me know too, and I'll come take a look. Students in the computer lab are appropriately spaced or have dividers between monitors. The computer lab at the admin building will have dividers. I'll put those up myself. And then in the high school, in the computer lab, you should see dividers there too. CTC is actively monitoring testing sessions. You should see the CTC running around, checking groups, making sure everything's in place, especially at the beginning of the administration. And you should also see the campus principal visible and able to assist if anyone asks. If you have any questions or concerns, or you don't feel comfortable talking to the CTC, please call me. I don't mind. You can text, you can call, whatever you want to do. And I'll just walk over and take a look and see what you're telling me about. Then after you're finished with everything, just check box your name, mark your name on this list, and then hit submit. Please do this as soon as you finish monitoring every day that you're asked to monitor. It'll be fresh in your mind, and then if there are any concerns, you can tell me about those, and I'll go over immediately to check it out. So thank you so much for helping out. Everybody is busy all the time. I realize that. So I do appreciate you volunteering your time during the day to help us. Thanks.